Our whole goal is to get kids inspired and interested in technology.
Make it, do it, makes us harder, better, faster, stronger. More than power, never. Ever after work is over. Work it, make it, do it, makes us.
This is the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl of smarts, that is. It's a life-changing competition. It's kids having fun, competing, working together to dream up, design, and build robots.
It's just an exhilarating feeling. It's like I'm using power tools.
They're having the hardest fun they'll ever have. And they're becoming our next generation of engineers and innovators. First, come out! For inspiration and recognition of science and technology, my teachers were some of the greatest influences on my life. By challenging and trusting me, these mentors got me to understand that I could do anything I put my mind to. First mentors are changing kids' lives every day. Professional engineers, teachers, parents, teaming up with young people not just to build robots, but to build confidence and self-respect.
I'm around people that I can get along with, that we can talk computer lingo with.
FIRST was founded by one of our greatest inventors, Dean Kamen. Dean saw that kids mostly look up to sports heroes and movie stars.
So we said, if we've got a culture now that's obsessed with sports and entertainment, let's inspire these kids to be big thinkers the same way Shaquille O'Neal can inspire them to spend dozens of hours a week bouncing a ball.
Our president agrees.
Scientists and engineers ought to stand side by side with athletes and entertainers as role models. And here at the White House, we're going to lead by example. We're going to show young people how cool science can be.
Go first! 250,000 kids aged 6 to 18 compete at all different levels. In 2 FIRST Lego Leagues, the FIRST Tech Challenge. Then at the high school level, the FIRST Robotics Competition.
The only difference between this sport and all the others is every kid on our teams can turn pro. There's a job out there for every one of these kids.
Students who take part in FIRST are 50% more likely to go to college and twice as likely to major in science or engineering.
I definitely know that I want to pursue engineering.
Once they've tasted what the power of knowledge is, that it can be fun and rewarding, they won't go back.
There's no doubt FIRST works.
10 or 15 or 20 years from today, some kid in those stands will have cured Alzheimer's or AIDS or cancer, or built an engine that doesn't pollute. Look at these kids. They're the future.
I feel like I can go and do anything I want to do because of this program.
Someone took the time to guide and inspire me. It changed my life. Take some time. Go to usfirst.org.
This is work, but it's fun work.
There's so many places you can take it.
That it has the potential for being one of the formative experiences in their life. Something they will remember long after they've forgotten most of the things they did in school.
Once you put on the goggles, you're hooked.
First Check Challenge is part of the FIRST progression of programs. In FTC, middle and high school students from around the world compete with robots in head-to-head competition.
I get excited for sports before I play them, but I get excited before FTC a competition. Like the same way I get excited for sports, it's like, oh, we're going in, we're ready, we gotta win this.
FTC team members learn to think like engineers as they go through the evolutionary process of prototyping, building, and testing their robot. Students also learn computer programming, teamwork, and invaluable interpersonal communication skills.
Each team gets sent the same robot kit, but without any instructions. Instead, they're given a manual about the game and how the robot must play. The games change every year and they can be pretty complicated.
They all had a completely different take on doing one common task, and I think it's really interesting how different teams come up with different ideas.
But it's not just about the robots, it's about building self-confidence and building respect. It's not so much about winning and losing. It's really about the experience, learning, and building your mind to compete tomorrow.
It's just a great way to come together and make something and potentially make a difference.
You can go to another team and ask them for help, and it's not weird, and people come to you and ask for help, and it's normal to help them out. It's just a very good atmosphere.
It's really beautiful how I can apply the things that I learned in my math and my science classes, and also even humanities. It's a wide variety of talents that you can use. There's speaking involved, outreach, writing letters. You learn a lot from this program.
Is it just for kids who want to be engineers? I would say no. My own daughter, I don't think she's going to get a career in engineering, but not 1 minute of being part of FIRST has been something that hasn't served her well.
These kids are more likely to go to college, twice as likely to major in science, and girls are 4 times more likely to study math and science, and that's good for all of us.
FTC teaches kids foundational skills and provides them with hands-on training they'll need through the rest of their high school and college careers. They also have access to millions of dollars in college scholarships.
Coaches should like FTC because they can see how their work inspires youth in the real world.
Learning about the stuff that you do in this program, it will end up benefiting everyone in the world.
I think there's a lot more kids that want to do it than there are adults that can take that on, but it is something you can do. You know, it isn't impossible. I'm not an engineering person, you know, and I think you get motivated.
I love the fact that you make a contribution to our future. These kids are going to be movers and shakers.
This is absolutely amazing right now. I've been in this program for 4 years, and I put in so much time and effort, and moments like this is why it's worth it all, and this is why I think every single person that's in high school, middle school, they should do this.
I was 15 again, this is what I'll be doing.
Come to the game this year and check it out. Once you see what it does for children, you can't say no.
Ladies and gentlemen, meet the Nerd Girls. They're not your everyday girls. The Nerd Girls are engineering students from the nation's top schools. A team of knockout brainiacs who are changing the world.
You get that shock value when you say to someone who you just meet, yeah, I'm an engineer.
Like, oh, well, yeah, I'm a computer engineer. And they're like, what? I'd be lying if I said, you know, it isn't great to, like, put on lots of makeup, throw on some insanely high stilettos, and walk down the street and get attention and be like, ha. But it's also fun to know that you're a lot more than that.
I work on an FPGA, which is a field programmable gate array. Who doesn't want to build a car to say, oh, I worked on the whole electrical system of a solar car?
They're building a race car that's totally solar powered. That's not all. The Nerd Girls are always on the move.
Hi, sorry, we're on our way.
Every week, they respond to emails from people across the country asking for help. Like rigging an off-the-grid lighthouse for solar power. Or reverse engineering an infrared-controlled doggy door for a handicapped pet owner.
I mean, there's things that you don't even think about on a daily basis that engineers basically are behind. Like, I have friends that are in chemical engineering that want to do makeup. Engineers aren't just plane builders and car builders. Like, the options are really, really cool.
Sometimes boys are intimidated by girls being engineers, but I don't care. I think that engineering girls demand more confident guys.
When you say, you know, I'm an engineer and they're not fazed by it, it kind of shows that they can handle that intelligence.
The beauty of brains.
Join our groups at Facebook and MySpace and visit us at nerdgirls.com.
If I was 15 again, this is what I would be doing.
In a word, it's amazing, awesome,
Inspiring.
Hard work.
fun,
Crazy. Teamwork.
challenging.
Cool.
It's a team of up to 10 kids.
Grades 7 through 12. Kids with all kinds of talents.
In all kinds of backgrounds.
Working as a team with adult volunteer coaches.
Every season, we get a new challenge.
To design, build, and program a robot.
To play a field game against other teams' robots.
Wow! We're not given much time or resources. We have to keep a real engineering notebook.
It takes a lot of teamwork and a lot of hard work.
But
it's the hardest fun you'll ever have.
First Tech Challenge is one in a progression of 4 robotics programs that make up FIRST.
What's FIRST? For inspiration and recognition of science and technology.
FIRST is designed to introduce kids of all ages to the fun and excitement of science, technology, engineering, and math, and motivate them to pursue education, career opportunities, and become leaders in these important fields. Founded in 1989 by inventor Dean Kamen, FIRST has grown steadily to become an international phenomenon.
I think every single person that's in high school, middle school, they should do this. They should do FIRST because this is amazing.
FIRST Tech Challenge helps build self-confidence
And opens doors to learning new skills. Like problem solving. And overcoming challenges.
And leadership.
In the process, we discover a lot about ourselves and make so many new friends.
We call it
Sport for the mind.
Best part is,
Anybody can play.
Each team gets sent the same robot kit, and they're given a manual about how the robot must play. The game changes every year and can be pretty complicated. But it's not just about the robot. It's about building self-confidence and building respect. It's not so much about winning or losing. It's really about the experience, learning and building your mind to compete tomorrow.
First Tech Challenge isn't just about mechanics and engineering. Every FTC team needs lots of help from kids with every kind of talent.
What can you do that can help us?
Like to work with your hands?
Can you draw, paint or sew, shoot video,
Give a speech.
You know about electronics?
There's a job for everybody.
It's about working as a team.
respecting everyone and their ideas.
We learn from you.
And you learn from us.
Basically, this is a sport where if you show up, you can play. And every student has the opportunity to go pro at the end of their schooling.
First Tech Challenge games are built on a sports model designed to be played with two teams on a side, called an alliance. So each team has to build relationships with other teams who might be their partners in one game and their opponents in the next. Everybody helps everybody else and treats all players with respect, what First refers to as gracious professionalism. The season's most successful teams earn a spot at the First Tech Challenge World Championship in St. Louis. Students are eligible to apply for millions of dollars in scholarships, along with recognition for achievements far beyond building a great robot.
So that's First Tech Challenge.
If you'd like to join, mentor, volunteer, or sponsor a team in your neighborhood,
Visit First on the web.
One of the modern icons in engineering and invention. His list of inventions include an insulin pump, a wheelchair that can go upstairs, water purification systems, and the Segway transporter. In the field of education, his first robotics challenges are used around the world to engage students in science and engineering. And now he has a new TV show. He's the co-host of Dean of Invention, premiering today on Discovery Network's Planet Green, of course, that we're talking about, Dean Kamen. He joins us today from DECA Research and Development in Manchester, New Hampshire. Welcome back to the program.
It's great to be back. How are you, Ira?
How are you?
Terrific.
Are you excited about your new TV show?
I really am. I think if we're successful in putting a human face on scientists and engineers and inventors, we're hoping that the generation of kids that now seem to be fixated on having all their role models come from the world of sports or entertainment might see that there are other options out there.
Well, you were one of the few lucky people to get invited to the science fair at the White House. Tell us what that was about.
That was great, and in fact, President Obama said something literally that I've been saying for years. He stood up at the podium and said, in this White House, they, including himself, the presidents, are always inviting winners of sporting events, the Super Bowl, the World Series, to the White House. Wouldn't it be appropriate that we make a tradition out of inviting the greats among particularly kids in achieving in science and engineering and inventing to the White House to get the same kind of recognition so that all kids everywhere will see how exciting and relevant and accessible science and technology and inventing are, because I think, as you know very well, there are way more exciting careers out there for people that have developed the muscle hanging between their ears than for all the sports and entertainers combined. Mm-hmm. And the rest of the world is starting to become appropriately very competitive in math and science and engineering. So we need every kid in this country to try out for the team. If we want to have a world-class competitive workforce for the future, we need everybody participating. And of course, my passion is still FIRST, our robotics competition, which has its kickoff this year, January 8th. And we expect to have more than 19,000 schools involved with teams this year from 56 countries. So we're expecting by the time March Madness starts, nearly 50 major cities around the country and around the world will be doing their weekend competitions. And then our finals this year, we're moving to the center of the country, to the Edward Jones Arena, right under the big arch in St. Louis.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I think once these elected officials see what these kids are capable of, once you get them energized and passionate, and once they're connected with the great mentors that we have working with every one of them, and once these, again, political leaders see the the importance of and the power of science and technology in the lives of these kids, I think first ought to become a major sport in every school in the country, and it ought to get the same kind of recognition by our elected officials as if we were giving out free tickets to the Super Bowl. I think they'd all find time to get there.
Well, do you not?
I think it's even simpler than that in some cases. They believed that we invited them to see some kind of a boring, dull science fair where they'd have to read little charts and posters with words either from Latin roots in medicine or mathematical figures in terms that they didn't really understand. And when we tell them, no, it's nothing like that. It's a sporting event. It's so exciting. You bring the cheerleaders and the school bands and the fans, and you have a great time, except instead of learning how to bounce the ball, these kids are learning how to think and solve difficult problems and work on complex issues with big teams.
Gonna rock your world. Oh, yeah.
If I get less than 8 hours, I just...
Lay. Sir. Yeah.
Kane is in the building.
Yeah! Already the show goes on all night. Till the morning we dream so long. Anybody ever wonder when they would see the sun up? Just remember when you come up, the show goes on. Alright, already the show goes on all night. Till the morning we dream so long.
A win. Taking it back to you, Highland Park. A win.